I want to talk a little bit about the state of CrossFit because me and you kind of went back and forth a little bit the other day.
Yeah.
I went on this like whole thing that I was going to save CrossFit kind of for a period of time, and then I realized I had to worry about my own company. So, so I quickly abandoned that. But
interesting.
But I'd love to hear, your experiences with where you have come from CrossFit, like your experience in the early days, and then like where you see it today, what your involvement is today, where you see it going. I believe it's still for sale, correct?
Yeah,
like it's on the market.
Yeah.
I heard Rich Froning talking a little bit about it. I've heard rumblings and stuff, but I was just, you're in it.
Yeah.
Which CrossFit do you go to here?
I go to 2, CrossFit Miami Beach.
Okay.
And
is that where Sadie goes?
That's where Sadie goes. Yeah.
Shout out Sadie.
With her.
We love Sadie.
She's amazing.
Sadie is a superhero.
Amazing. Yeah, she is.
She's literally a superhero. Like living superhero.
Oh yeah, she kicks my butt in the gym.
She's
on
amazing.
The daily. Yeah, she's.
And Kaplan's awesome. So.
Oh yeah, he fixes me.
Yeah, he fixes us when we jack ourselves up.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I also go to Peak 360, which is
Guido, my man.
Guido,
love Guido.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's 2 different vibes, both amazing gyms.
Okay.
I love going to, but I definitely you tap into a different vibe. One is very much like more laid back, that's CrossFit Miami Beach, and there's one that's a little bit more competitive where you get elite CrossFit athletes who train there.
Yeah, Noah's there.
Noah's there, exactly.
Who's the big black dude that trains there too? Noah's friend?
Tola?
I think.
Well, Chandler Smith.
Or is it Chandler? Yeah.
Chandler, he is.
Yeah, there's one like dude that's just super jacked.
Super nice too. I mean, they're all nice.
Yeah.
It's such a great community.
Yeah, Noah's kind of too nice. I tell him all the time, like, bro, you're too nice.
He's sunshine.
Yeah, no, literally, like he's too nice. I'm telling you, like.
No, too nice means there's like a judgment attached to it.
I'm just joking. But it is one of those things where you're like, bro, you can't be that nice. Come on.
He actually is.
No, but he is.
Yeah.
No, he is. It's a real thing. Guido too. Guido's super, like, just an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Amazing humans over there. So
this community is like really, really good, and I'm really thankful to tap into both. Like, CrossFit has gone through a lot recently. I joined on the tail end of its what some might call their heyday, right? August 2018.
Okay.
I think they fired their media team 2018 or 2019, something like that. That's when, at least on the public side, you started seeing that there was stuff going on behind the scenes. Now CrossFit is going through what some might call a crisis. I call it an identity crisis, to be honest. It's like a midlife crisis of just trying to understand what you are.
Yeah.
Whether you're a sport, whether you're a training methodology, and can you be both? Do you have to choose? And there's a bunch of rumblings about who might buy CrossFit. Right now it's owned by a private equity firm, Berkshire Partners. The CEO is Eric Rosa, who's a past tech entrepreneur. He also owns a CrossFit gym. There's a bunch of people who have put in, their hat in the ring. I'm even hearing Rory McIlroy. He apparently has started a sports investment fund, and it's somehow linked to TPG. I mean, these are all rumblings. You don't know what is true, what isn't. I just know it's up for sale.
Right.
I absolutely love the training methodology that is CrossFit. It's changed my life. I don't think it's the best training methodology out there. I think it's the best one for me right now. Right?
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, you're smiling just because I'm not going to preach CrossFit.
Well, I mean, if I'm smiling because if you have a exercise science, strength and conditioning,
you're probably like,
kinesiology background, then, it's tough to hear that and not smile. But
yes.
I'm also a believer that everyone, from nutrition, from lifestyle to training to sleep to everything, is an individual choice. Everything is related to what works for you and what is, like, people always ask me, when when should I work out? When should I do this
Yeah.
on? And I said, when you will do it,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest thing.
But not only that, like it is absolutely about how you practice something. Like there's a spectrum of how to do CrossFit. You can compete in it, or you can just be a weekend warrior in it. And that's fine,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people hate on CrossFit like, oh, they're so injury prone. Last time I checked, pickleball. The injuries linked to
you
pickleball.
can get hurt. You can get hurt in anything, and the truth is that most of the time you're getting hurt because of the lack of technique.
There you go.
And that's really what it boils down to, and your recovery.
Exactly.
And I will say this: there are certain things about CrossFit that you're having to perform technique in exhaustion.
Yeah.
And that combination is very hard to master. Basically, what I see is that CrossFit is an elite situation. Like to master CrossFit is years and years of training without ego. That's another thing too. Like if people are willing to not compete with the man next to them or the woman next to them and be like, well, he's using 185 pounds, so I have to use it. If they would let their ego go and master the technique first, then they would all of a sudden progress and not have the injuries. But of course it's so competitive, and they see that and they're like, no, I have to do what they're doing, and like that.
True.
But that's with anything.
I was going to say, you can
have that in pit.
Exactly.
Actually, a guy the other day, he was like insistent on jumping on a plyo box that he couldn't jump on. But because the other guy did it, he did it, and he fell and hurt himself. And that was an ego injury. That's what I call ego injuries, And I think
Have you had an ego injury?
Oh, a million times.
Have you really?
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah. I broke my back twice.
Oh.
So, oftentimes my osteopath, shout out Dr. Goddard.
Mine too.
Okay. So the osteopathic center and Kaplan, they keep me right.
Yep.
But so what would happen is Sean would inject me with Prolo or PRP or stem cells or whatever and get me right. And as soon as I'm feeling 100%, I go and do crazy workouts and stuff. And so that's where now that's years ago. I mean, now the ego is very low. And I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't been injured in a while now because of that. I'm very smart with listening to my body and not pushing the envelope and not just doing stupid stuff like I would in the past. But certainly I've 1000% have had ego injuries. So for sure, like just doing ridiculous things, so.
Yeah. And like I said, so many people hate on CrossFit. I can only speak about what it's done for me, and that's find confidence in myself, because now I focus more on what my body can do versus what it looks like. I like that I put on muscle. To be frank, the way I'm built is not the right build for CrossFit. I'm literally not in the right sport.
100%.
Yeah.
You're too tall, first of all.
I'm too tall.
Every
and
single
I'm too
badass
heavy.
CrossFit girl is like 5'2".
Exactly. I'm 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I laugh when I see guys do weighted pull-ups. I'm like, you don't even reach my weight yet. Like, you need to add more. And they're like, this is hard. I'm like, yeah. And this is me doing it whilst having less testosterone, more fat, and being on a cycle every month, right? So I have no pity
How many pull-ups
whatsoever.
can you do? Body weight.
Stripped?
Yeah, stripped.
I can do 8.
8?
And the real one. So I'm talking dead hang.
Dead hang. That's what we're talking about.
Underneath
Yes, I love
the chin, back
Real
down.
cross, not the kipping crap.
Not the kipping, but also not the one where I start like that, where my elbows are bent.
Yeah.
No. Like if there's something I do,
That's amazing.
It's meet standard.
That's awesome.
Right? And
That's
that took me a long time.
Yeah. And you're going to get to 10. I can feel it.
I'm hoping. But back when I started, they would tell me, go ahead and squeeze your lats. I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't have that mind muscle connection.
Yeah.
Like I could not squeeze my lats. I did not understand. And then once I started coaching, I realized that this was quite prominent amongst females. We don't use lats, and ours aren't even that developed. So when you're trying to do a pull-up, sometimes I do this under fatigue. In fact, I probably do it more often than not under fatigue. You use your back, like the upper back, etc., instead of actually using your lats. And now you tell me squeeze your lats, I'm like, got it.
Yeah.
But that took me a long, long time. And that's the journey that I love with CrossFit. I have found physical and mental strength through it. And that's why I love this sport. Do I think it's for everyone? Not necessarily. It's like saying basketball's for everyone. It's not. I think what's for you is what makes you feel empowered, what makes you feel healthy, and what makes you happy.
But I will say this, it can be for everyone.
It can be, yeah.
So it's two-way street.
True.
Like basketball can be for everyone.
Correct.
Because anyone can play basketball.
Correct.
Anyone can do CrossFit.
Yes.
It's just, you have to figure out if that's like really what you want to do.
Correct.
And experience. I would say the thing for me about CrossFit that stands out the most is the community.
Yeah.
I absolutely, in its heyday, and again, I'm not familiar with what's going on right now, other than the rumblings that they need help. But in the early days, like you said, because when in our heyday, which we're still growing, I feel like we haven't touched our real true heyday. But I think a lot of fitness facilities, 2019 was like just a monster year. Like it was like we were just packed classes, it was just a fantastic year. And a lot of CrossFitters would come take pit as their conditioning.
Nice.
And so I'd meet a lot of them, including, Sadie would come over and Noah came over a couple of times. So, and for me, it was just the way they talked about it, how they rallied around each other, how they encouraged each other, how they ate the same things. Everybody was in the paleo thing, like, at that time, back then, the just the camaraderie of it was awesome to me. And that's what I took from it and applied that to what we do and really kind of like looked at that and said, this is a positive thing out of CrossFit. So, and I still think there's tons of room for them to, I think Guido and I talked about a little bit that they should probably have exactly the two things that you said is the struggle. Which one is it? And they should probably break it apart to a certain degree and have like programming for the sport and programming for just the everyday person, so that it's not like the everyday person doesn't feel like they're competing against the 5'8", 220 pound little monster that's next to them. So
I tend to agree with that. Like logically, that's where my mind goes. We need to separate them. But the counter argument to that is what makes the community of CrossFit so strong is that they are doing the same thing that elite athletes are doing. So when you look at the season really starts with the Open, which tends to be in February to March every year. And now it's a series of 3 workouts, 1 every week. And whether it be your weekend warrior at a CrossFit gym or an elite athlete like Noah Olsen, they're all doing the same workout, and that kicks off the season.
So let me ask you this though. Are they all doing the same weight?
So that's a great question. There are 2 different divisions. There's RX and scaled. RX means prescribed, and that's what the elite athletes are doing. And that's what people who, are proficient in certain movements and in certain weights tend to do. If that's too much, like for example, if they don't know how to do toes to bar, for example, that would be prescribed. Toes to bar is literally you're hanging on the rig and you can use a kipping motion in order to get your toes to the bar and hit it. Some people can't, so they'll basically do knees to chest type of deal, right? That would be the scaled. So scaled is not that it's easier, it's just you're not there yet, but let's make sure that you're still getting
it's a little modified, right?
It's
a little modified.
Yeah. That way everyone can do it. So obviously the elite athletes are doing RX, aka prescribed. People love that they are actually doing the same thing as these athletes that they look up to. Like now you really feel like you're part of the same community.
Right.
And you have to do the Open to get to the CrossFit Games. That's where the top like 0.1% goes. I never got there, but you knew that. I'm like top 10% or maybe even top 12 now. Who knows? But they're literally like the fittest on earth, like 40, people. that's what makes the CrossFit community so strong. So if you separate that, where you have the sport of CrossFit on one end and the training methodology on the other, there can't be the open. So, but logically for me, it makes sense from a branding perspective. I think also there's a lot of stuff going on in the CrossFit space. There's been a lot of chatter, good and bad. Like there's a lot of black or white. No one's really talking about the gray area. It's such a divisive moment right now. It's actually quite sad to see. I don't like stuff like this, but because of what happened with CrossFit, it's just a bunch of different things, but perhaps lack of full, clear communication, maybe being transparent, or lack thereof, because based off of an incident that happened at the CrossFit Games last year where there was a tragedy and we unfortunately lost an athlete. The community was really down. Like, you know, you talk about how strong this community is. We lost one of our own. So some weren't happy with the CrossFit Games continuing when, unfortunately, this death happened on the first day of the CrossFit Games. Some were okay with continuing, but then they weren't happy with how CrossFit, the brand, handled it. And then even afterwards, just what is this going to mean? Are we going to be more cognizant of safety procedures? Are you taking responsibility for the tragedy? Like there was so much. And it's true. I see it as a pure lack of transparency, which is kind of scary because, and perhaps it's a legal thing. I don't know what's going on the inside. I'm on the outside looking in. And as you know, as a business owner, and I myself know, until you're in that structure, in the company, you don't really know what's going on. So I don't know why there was a lack of transparency. All I know is there was. And then it's all of a sudden, new season, let's go. This is how the new season is structured. And here are the changes. And people are like, wait a second, we're still not over what happened.
So they never addressed it?
They did, but they didn't. Not enough for people to feel like they addressed it. And maybe it's for legal reasons. Like, who knows, right? But
they could say that. I mean, you know. Was there ever a formal statement? Was there a formal statement?
There was a formal statement, but then you know how it goes. Then people start pointing fingers, and then it comes out that this person said this person did that. I mean, it becomes so messy, and people are like, I'm disappointed.